desk right here is my desk.
Terra Solar spent 3 years on the street before becoming the first person to move into one of these tiny homes just over a month ago.
I've slept in outdoor stairwells, like in sleeping bags. You know what I mean? It's been hard.
She tells us she burned down 2 tents in the past, trying to keep warm by starting fires using hand sanitizer. But her way out of the cold didn't come from a shelter or the city. It was wheeled in by a guy named Ryan, who says the tiny homes should have never been built in the first place.
It's so easy and so cheap to house people. We just don't want to do it. I don't know why we don't want to, but we could house people.
He started building the tiny homes this summer, taking inspiration from Khalil Seavright, who built wooden shelters during the pandemic until the city removed them, claiming they were a fire hazard. But Donay tells us these tiny homes have features built in, with the hopes to avoid city backlash.
You can move them. They're very, very, very mobile. There is a lot of safety features built in. There's a fire extinguisher. There is a smoke and carbon monoxide detector. And I think the biggest safety feature is it has heat. If you don't have heat, you create heat with fire.
City workers dropped by as we were visiting and left without raising alarms. Donay gave us a tour.
All right, so let me show you around inside a little bit. Under the bed, you got lots of storage here.
The small unit comes with the basics, like a bed, storage space, and a sink. It has a fan for the summer, heating for the winter, and a lockable door.
I can lock my door. I sleep every night. You know, I never had clothes that I got to wear twice. I got to do my laundry the other day and wear my clothes the second time. So those are big things, you know. I felt grateful but guilty that I have heat and all these people around me don't, and I can't fit everybody in here.
Donay built 3 tiny homes so far, spending $5,000 of his own money on the first prototype. The rest comes from private donations, and the city hasn't chipped in yet.
I hope to have a partnership where they can supply some land and maybe supply some funding. But mainly supply some land because we need to get our parks back.
The City of Toronto committed to creating over 1,000 modular homes, with 216 built so far. Different municipalities across Ontario are also giving tiny shelters a try as a way to address the housing crisis. Peterborough started a modular housing community filled with cabins in the site of a former parking lot. Waterloo also has a tiny home shelter run by the region that opened last year. Meanwhile, Hamilton is expected to open the city's first outdoor shelter filled with tiny homes next month, after some delays. But as much as tiny homes can help the housing crisis, Solar tells us they're not the solution.
It's really just a temporary until we get into permanent housing, you know, because shelters is not permanent.
When I asked Ryan what his goal is, he said it's not to build a specific number of these tiny homes. It's for all these tents to go, and for people to have a warm place to stay at night. But in the meantime, his next tiny home for the next resident is already under construction. Nama Weingarten, CBC News, Toronto.